The massive spacecraft of the Nuri Dominion appeared suddenly at the edge of our solar system. One moment, the vast emptiness of space was normal. The next moment, 7 giant ships hung there like dark mountains against the stars. Earth's deep. Space monitoring stations detected them immediately. Warning signals flashed across screens in military bases around the world. At Space Command headquarters, Admiral Minho stared at the satellite images with a grim face. His normally calm eyes now showed worry as he studied the alien ships. "How many people know about this?" he asked. "Only top military and government officials so far," replied Captain Gina. She had been on duty when the first signals came in. She hadn't slept in 24 hours, but her voice remained steady. "But we can't keep this quiet for long. The amateur astronomers will spot them soon." The president called an emergency meeting. Leaders from around the world joined through secure video links. Scientists, military experts, and government officials all argued about what to do. Some wanted to prepare for war. Others wanted to send peaceful messages. No one knew what the aliens wanted. Then the aliens made the first move. A message arrived in perfect English and in every other major language of Earth. "We are the Nuri Dominion. We have come to evaluate your world for integration into our empire. Prepare to receive our representatives." Integration. The word sounded peaceful, but everyone understood what it really meant. The 17 other planets the Nuri had integrated were now completely under their control. 3 days later, a smaller Nuri ship landed in an open field outside the United Nations headquarters. Armed soldiers surrounded the area, but their weapons seemed like toys compared to the technology that had crossed the stars. The alien delegation that emerged shocked everyone. The Nuri were tall, insect-like beings with 4 arms and large compound eyes that reflected the sunlight in rainbow patterns. They moved with a strange grace that made them seem both dangerous and beautiful. The leader of the Nuri delegation introduced himself as Commander Taehyun. "We wish to understand your species before we make our final decision," he said through a translator device. His voice sounded both mechanical and musical at the same time. Dr. Yoonji Park, Earth's leading xenobiologist, was chosen to lead the Human Welcome Committee. She had studied the possibility of alien life for decades, but nothing had prepared her for actually meeting aliens who had conquered much of the galaxy. "We welcome you to Earth," she said carefully, "and hope for peaceful relations between our peoples." Commander Taehyun's compound eyes seemed to study her deeply. "Peace is possible if your species proves worthy. We have a simple request for our evaluation." The world leaders leaned forward, waiting. "We wish to meet with your offspring, your children. They reveal the true nature and potential of a species." The request caused immediate panic among the human delegation. No one wanted to send children to meet with potentially dangerous aliens, but refusing might provoke the Nuri. After hours of debate, a compromise was reached. 7 children from different countries would meet the aliens, but only under strict supervision and with their parents' permission. 8-year-old Ji-woo Park, Dr. Yoonji's daughter, was among those selected. Unlike the adults around her, Ji-woo showed no fear when told about the aliens. Her eyes lit up with excitement. "Will they look like the bugs in my science book?" she asked her mother. "Something like that," Dr. Yoonji replied, trying to hide her worry. "But Ji-woo, these beings have traveled across space. They have powerful technology. We don't know what they want." Ji-woo nodded seriously. "Maybe they just want friends." The day of the meeting arrived. The 7 children and their guardians were taken to a special room set up for the encounter. The adults were nervous, but the children watched with wide eyes as the Nuri entered. Commander Taehyun approached the group. His forearms were folded in what seemed like a peaceful gesture. The other Nuri stayed back, observing. "We thank you for bringing your young ones," he said. "On our world, children are most precious. They see things adults miss." Ji-woo stepped forward before anyone could stop her. The adults gasped, but she simply looked up at the towering alien with curious eyes. "Hello," she said. "My name is Ji-woo. I'm 8 years old. Can you tell me about the stars you've seen?" Commander Taehyun tilted his head, surprised by her lack of fear. Something in the alien's posture changed. He knelt down to be closer to her level. I have seen many stars, young Jiwoo. Some burn blue and hot, others red and ancient. Would you like to learn about them? And so began the first real conversation between humanity and the Nuri Dominion. Not with threats or politics, but with a child's simple curiosity about the universe. The silver shuttle carried Jiwoo and the 6 other children toward the main Nuri ship orbiting Earth. Through the window, Jiwoo watched her home planet grow smaller. The blue and white sphere looked like a marble against the blackness of space. Her mother sat beside her, holding her hand tightly. "Remember what we talked about," Dr. Yoonji whispered. "Be polite, but don't share too much information about Earth." Jiwoo nodded, but her attention was already on the massive alien ship growing larger ahead of them. It looked like a giant dragonfly with glowing blue lights along its sides. The shuttle docked with a soft bump. When the doors opened, Commander Taehyun was waiting for them. Behind him stood 4 other Nuri aliens. Their bodies shimmered with a metallic green color under the lights. "Welcome to the Star Wing," said Commander Taehyun. "We have prepared spaces where you will be comfortable." The children followed the aliens into a large room. The walls looked like they were made of flowing water, but when Jiwoo touched one, it felt solid and warm. Strange plants grew in corners, and small flying creatures that looked like glowing jellyfish floated near the ceiling. "These are beautiful," said Jiwoo, pointing at the floating creatures. "They are light swimmers from our home world," explained Commander Taehyun. "They eat energy and produce clean air." The adult humans stayed close to the children, eyes watchful and bodies tense. They smiled when the aliens looked at them, but Jiwoo noticed how they whispered to each other when the Nuri weren't watching. Female Nuri approached the group. She was slightly smaller than Commander Taehyun with lighter green coloring. "I am Scientist Mina," she said. "I study other species. I would like to learn about human children, how you learn, how you play." The other children stayed back, but Jiwoo stepped forward. "I can show you how I play," she offered. She pulled a small puzzle cube from her pocket, a gift from her father. "This is a game that makes you think." Scientist Mina took the cube carefully, in her 4-fingered hand. She turned it, studying the colored squares. "A pattern game. We have similar challenges for our younglings." Soon, Jiwoo was showing Mina how to solve the puzzle. The other children slowly joined them, their fear melting away as they shared games and stories with the aliens. Commander Taehyun watched from a distance. Another Nuri officer approached him and spoke quietly. "The adults are afraid. Their thoughts leak into our telepathic field. They believe we plan to conquer them." Commander Taehyun's antennae twitched. "And the children?" "The children are different. Their minds are open, especially the small female who approached you first." Commander Taehyun looked at Jiwoo, who was now laughing as she tried to teach Scientist Mina a clapping game. "Yes, that one is unusual. Take me to the ship's archive. I want to review our data on human history." Later, the children were shown around parts of the ship. They saw gardens where strange plants grew and rooms where stars and planets appeared as holograms all around them. The human adults stayed close, but they too were amazed by what they saw. During lunch, they ate sweet fruits and blue bread that the Nuri had prepared specially to be safe for humans. Jiwoo sat next to Commander Taehyun. "Your ship is amazing," she said between bites. "How many worlds have you visited?" "Hundreds," replied the commander. "The Nuri Dominion spans 3 spiral arms of this galaxy. And do you make friends with all of them?" The commander paused. "We integrate them. They become part of the Dominion." "Do they want to be integrated?" Jiwoo asked innocently. The adults at the table tensed. Dr. Yoonji gave her daughter a warning. "Look," Commander Taehyun's compound eyes fixed on Jiwoo. "Some resist at first. They do not understand the benefits." Jiwoo nodded as if thinking deeply. "At school, there's a boy who wants everyone to play his way. Nobody likes it." Before the commander could respond, Jiwoo changed the subject. "Can I see your weapons?" The room went silent. Dr. Yoonji reached for her daughter, but Commander Taehyun held up one hand. "Why would you wish to see such things, small human?" Jiwoo shrugged. "Because they tell me what you're afraid of. The commander's antennae twitched rapidly. An interesting observation. What makes you think weapons show fear? Dad says we build weapons to protect us from what scares us. So your weapons would show what scares you in space. For the first time, Commander Taehyun made a sound that might have been a laugh. Your offspring are remarkably direct, he said to the human adults. Come, young Jiwoo. I will show you our observation deck. From there you can see your planet in full. As they walked through the ship's corridors, Jiwoo felt something strange, like a gentle touch inside her mind. She didn't know that the Nuri were telepathic, or that her unusual openness was allowing her to connect with them in a way the adults could not. She only knew that when she looked at Commander Taehyun, she sometimes saw flashes of other worlds, of battles, of stars she had never seen before. And somehow she knew these weren't just her imagination, they were memories. His memories. On the observation deck, Jiwoo stood before a huge window that showed Earth floating in space. The blue planet looked small and fragile from this distance. Commander Taehyun stood beside her, his tall, insect-like form reflecting in the glass. Your world is very blue, he said. The third planet we've seen with so much water. Jiwoo was quiet for a moment. Strange images kept flashing in her mind. She saw planets burning. She saw cities being rebuilt with strange technology. She saw alien children being taught the history of the Nuri Dominion. Are you okay, small human? Asked Commander Taehyun. His voice sounded concerned. I'm seeing things, Jiwoo said slowly. Things I don't understand. The commander's antennae twitched rapidly. What kinds of things? Other planets, fighting, ships like yours shooting at cities. Jiwoo looked up at him. Why do you hurt other worlds? Commander Taehyun stepped back, his compound eyes flickering with light. This is not possible. Human children should not be able to access our telepathic field. Is that what's happening? Jiwoo asked. Am I reading your mind? Not exactly, the commander said. But somehow you are connecting to our shared memory. This has never happened with any other species we've encountered. More images flashed through Jiwoo's mind. She saw a room with many Nuri gathered around. A table. They were looking at pictures of Earth. They were making plans. You're going to attack us, Jiwoo said. It wasn't a question. Commander Taehyun didn't deny it. We integrate all worlds we find. Some require more persuasion than others. That means you'll hurt people. Only those who resist. It is better for all species to be part of the Dominion. Jiwoo felt sad, not scared. She looked back at Earth. We had a boy at my school named Hyunwoo, she said. A boy at your learning place? The commander seemed confused by the change in topic. Yes. He was bigger than everyone else. He thought he was strong because he could push everyone around. One day he tried to take Do-hyun's lunch. What happened to this boy? Jiwoo turned to face the commander. All the kids stood together, even the ones who were scared of him before. Now Hyunwoo sits alone at lunch. Nobody wants to be his friend. Commander Taehyun was silent. Humans can be weird, Jiwoo continued. We fight with each other all the time. My mom says it's because we're still growing up as a species. But when someone from outside tries to hurt us, we stick together. More images flashed through Jiwoo's mind. She saw Nuri soldiers on Earth. She saw human cities damaged. But she also saw humans fighting back in ways the Nuri didn't expect. If you attack Earth, you might win some battles, Jiwoo said. But humans never stop fighting for home. My dad taught me about our history. Even when countries were conquered, people kept fighting, sometimes for hundreds of years. Commander Taehyun's 4 hands clasped together. Your species is primitive. Your weapons cannot harm our ships. But we learn fast, Jiwoo said, and we're really good at finding new ways to fight. Through their strange connection, Jiwoo suddenly saw something the commander was trying to hide. Memories of another world where the Nuri had won the war but still faced constant problems. Years of attacks from small groups of fighters. Damaged equipment. Lost soldiers. Even if you win, you lose, Jiwoo said quietly. The commander stared at her for a long moment. You are seeing too much, small human. I'm just telling you what I see, Jiwoo replied. And I see that you're not as strong as you think. Commander Taehyun's antennae flattened against his head. You should rejoin your group now. As they walked back to where the other children and adults were waiting, Jiwoo felt the strange connection fading. But before it disappeared completely, she sent one last message. Not with words, but with feelings and images of her own. She showed the commander what Earth could be like as a friend instead of a conquered world. She showed people in Nuri working together, sharing knowledge rather than fighting. When they reached the others, Dr. Yoonji rushed to her daughter. Are you all right? What happened? We just talked, Jiwoo said. About Earth and school and stuff. Commander, Taehyun looked at the child with new respect. Your daughter is an unusual, Dr. Park. She sees more than most. That evening, as the humans prepared to return to Earth, Jiwoo noticed the commander having an intense discussion with other Nuri officers. They kept looking at the humans. Then, a data screen showing Earth. Just before they left, Commander Taehyun approached Jiwoo once more. The warning you gave, he said quietly. It was most informative. Jiwoo smiled. I hope you make the right choice. As the shuttle took them back to Earth, Dr. Yoonji asked her daughter what she had said to the commander. I just told him a story about school, Jiwoo replied, watching the Nuri ship grow smaller through the window. And I think he understood. Commander, Taehyun stood before the Nuri High Council in the central chamber of the main ship. 6 senior commanders sat at a curved table, their compound eyes reflecting the blue light from the floor. Behind them, large screens showed images of Earth, its cities, oceans, and people. Your report is troubling, Commander, said High Leader Junho. He was the oldest of the council, his exoskeleton darker and more weathered than the others. You suggest we delay the integration of this world? I suggest we reconsider our approach. Entirely, Commander Taehyun replied. His antennae twitched nervously, but his voice remained steady. The humans are unusual. Officer Sunmi stepped forward. She was the ship's chief intelligence analyst, responsible for studying new species. Before contact, her light green exoskeleton marked her as from the southern regions of the Nuri homeworld. I have analyzed the data from our visit, she said. She touched a control panel, and the screens changed to show historical images of Earth. Humans have a violent history. They fight constantly among themselves. By our usual standards, they should be easy to conquer. Then why hesitate? Asked another council member. Our weapons are far superior to theirs. Commander Taehyun clicked his mandibles together, a sign of disagreement. Show them the timeline of human development. Officer Sunmi nodded and changed the display again. A line graph appeared showing the technological progress of various species. Most species follow this pattern of development, she explained, pointing to several gently rising lines. It takes thousands of years to move from simple tools to space travel. She then pointed to a line that rose sharply upward. This is humanity. They went from simple flight machines to landing on their moon in less than 70 years. From basic computers to worldwide information networks in just 40 years. The council members chittered among themselves, the Nuri equivalent of concerned whispers. They adapt extremely quickly, Commander Taehyun added. And there is something else. He paused, seeming unsure how to continue. The child, Jiwoo Park, she was able to access our telepathic field. This news caused immediate commotion. The council members rose from their seats, mandibles clicking rapidly. Impossible, said High Leader Junho. No non-Nuri species has ever shown telepathic compatibility. Nevertheless, it happened, Commander Taehyun insisted. She saw our memories, our plans. And through that connection, I saw something in their history that concerns me greatly. He nodded to Officer Sunmi, who changed the display again. This time it showed various human conflicts throughout history. Humans have a concept they call guerrilla warfare, Commander Taehyun explained. When faced with a superior enemy, they do not surrender. They hide, they adapt, they strike in unexpected ways. The screen showed images of human resistance fighters from various time periods, hiding in forests, in mountains, in cities. Even when their nations are defeated, small groups continue fighting. Sometimes for years. Sometimes for generations. Hi, Leader Junho leaned forward. We have faced resistance before, we always prevail. At what cost? Commander Taehyun asked. Remember the Solaran integration. We won the war in 3 cycles, but it took 15 cycles to fully pacify their population. We lost thousands of soldiers to hidden explosives, poisoned food, sabotaged equipment, Officer Sunmi added. And humans show an unusual ability to unify against outside threats. Their entertainment and literature constantly feature stories of their people joining together to fight alien invaders. They are preparing their people psychologically for such a conflict, said Commander Taehyun. And there is more. Their planet has extreme variations in climate and terrain. Desert, Arctic, jungle, ocean, mountains. Our troops would need to fight in all these environments. The screens now showed Earth's varied landscapes. Then they changed to show human military training in these different environments. They train for warfare in all these conditions, Officer Sunmi explained. Our troops are not so adaptable. A younger council member spoke up. But their weapons cannot penetrate our shields. Their aircraft cannot match our fighters. Today, no, agreed Commander Taehyun. But remember how quickly they advance, and if they capture even one piece of our technology. He didn't need to finish the thought. All Nuri knew the danger of allowing less advanced species to access their technology. Hi. Leader Junho stood and walked to the large window overlooking Earth. What do you propose, Commander? Classification change. Mark Earth as a deferred acquisition. We continue to observe but do not attempt integration at this time. Because of what one small human child told you, asked another council member. Skeptically. Commander Taehyun's antennae straightened with certainty. Because what she helped me see is that the cost of integrating Earth would be too high. We would win the initial battles, yes, but the war would never truly end. The council debated for hours. Some argued that showing restraint would make the Dominion appear weak. Others worried that leaving humans to develop further would only make them more dangerous later. Finally, High Leader Junho raised all 4 of his hands for silence. I have made my decision. Earth will be classified as deferred acquisition. We will establish an observation post beyond their moon, but withdraw our main fleet. He turned to Commander Taehyun. You will inform the humans of our decision. Make it clear this is not fear, but strategic patience. As the meeting ended, Officer Sunmi approached Commander Taehyun privately. The child, Jiwoo. What exactly did she say that convinced you? Commander Taehyun's compound eyes seemed to look far away. She told me a simple story about a school, bully. But what I saw in her mind was the truth about humanity. They are dangerous not because of their weapons, but because of their will. They never stop fighting for their home. The 6 giant Nuri ships began moving away from Earth, their engines glowing bright blue against the blackness of space. On screens around the world, people watched and wondered what it meant. For 3 weeks, the alien ships had hung in orbit like dark moons, making everyone nervous. Now they were leaving. Only the smallest ship remained, waiting. In a large conference room at the United Nations building, world leaders gathered one last time to meet with the Nuri. The room was tense. No one knew if this meeting meant peace or war. Dr. Yoonji Park sat near the front with Jiwoo beside her. The little girl wore her best blue dress and watched the door with excited eyes. Remember to be polite, Dr. Yoonji whispered to her daughter. Jiwoo nodded. I know, Mom, but they're not going to hurt us. How can you be so sure? Before Jiwoo could answer, the doors opened. Commander Taehyun entered with 2 other Nuri. The room went silent as the tall, insect-like beings walked to the front. People of Earth, Commander Taehyun began, his voice translated through a small device at his throat. The Nuri Dominion has completed our assessment of your world. Everyone in the room held their breath. We have classified Earth as a protected world under the designation of deferred acquisition. Confused looks passed between the human leaders. The Secretary General stood up. What exactly does that mean, Commander? It means we will not integrate Earth into the Dominion at this time. We will establish a small observation post beyond your moon, but our main fleet will depart your system. Relief spread through the room, though some people still looked suspicious. And why have you made this decision? Asked the Secretary General. Commander, Taehyun's compound eyes seemed to scan the room before settling on Jiwoo. We believe your species needs more time to mature. Integration now would be inefficient. Jiwoo smiled slightly. She knew what he really meant. After the formal announcements were finished, Commander Taehyun approached Jiwoo and her mother. Young Jiwoo Park, he said, bending down to her level. You have given us much to think about. Jiwoo looked up at the alien commander. Are you going to be friends with us now instead of trying to take over? The commander's antennae twitched in what Jiwoo now recognized as amusement. Perhaps not friends yet, but not enemies either. In time, who knows? He reached into a pouch at his side and pulled out a small crystal that glowed with a soft blue light. This is for you, he said, placing it in Jiwoo's hand. What is it? Dr. Yoonji asked cautiously. Knowledge, replied Commander Taehyun. Star maps, language programs, cultural information about the 23 species in our dominion. A gift for when humanity is ready to join the wider galaxy. Jiwoo held the crystal carefully. Thank you. Use it wisely, young one. Your mind is special. I believe you will help lead your people to the stars properly. The commander stood and turned to Dr. Yoonji. Your daughter helped us see something important about humanity. You are not ready for integration, but you may be ready for cooperation sooner than we expected. As the Nuri prepared to leave, Jiwoo called out, Will I see you again? Commander. Taehyun looked back. I believe so, Jiwoo Park. The galaxy is vast, but paths often cross more than once. That night, Jiwoo watched from her bedroom window as the last Nuri ship rose into the sky, becoming just another bright spot among the stars. The crystal the commander had given her glowed softly on her desk, occasionally projecting strange symbols into the air. 20 years passed. Earth changed, growing more unified after the alien visit. Nations that once fought each other now worked together on space programs and new technologies. Some of the knowledge from the crystal helped scientists make huge leaps forward. Dr. Jiwoo Park, now a grown woman, stood on the observation deck of Earth's first faster-than-light spacecraft. As Chief Ambassador for Humanity, she would lead the first official mission to meet with the Galactic Council, where 24 species, including the Nuri, shared knowledge and resources. In her hand, she held the same crystal Commander Taehyun had given her as a child. It had guided her work all these years. As the ship prepared to make its first jump into deep space, Jiwoo thought about how a simple conversation between a child and an alien had changed the course of human history. Ambassador Park called the captain. We're ready for departure. Jiwoo nodded. Then let's go meet our neighbors properly this time. The ship's engines hummed to life, and Earth shrank behind them as they headed toward the stars. Not as conquered subjects, but as equals. All because a child had given a simple warning. Think twice before attacking Earth.